Any other questions that you think are going to be important for staff to address?
Oh, definitely. Having heard of what you said about creative thinking, critical thinking, and metacognitive thinking, how do we go about teaching these skills to our students?
Right, okay.
What would be the instructional strategies that we could adopt at our level?
Okay. Now then, the basic premise is this. To teach something, you've got to understand how it works. That's why the key thing for faculty is to be familiar with what is thinking. And when we say what is good thinking quite simply is to be able to use critical thinking skills, creative thinking skills, and metacognitive strategies and skills pretty well. So if they understand that, then they must communicate that to students. So when you're teaching a subject, it's not useful to say to students, can you just comment on this? Or let's discuss that. Say to students, look, we've got some data here. What does the data suggest to you? What do you think's happening in this situation? So that's encouraging them to look at connections and to make inferences and interpretations. So if you're looking at engineering systems or business models, say, well, what's similar and what's different between these two things? So you get them to do compare and contrast. And then you say, well, okay, given that we've identified what's similar, what's different, what's significant about the differences in this situation here? Because when you make decisions that different situations will have different demands, like say in architecture, you might want a building and in one situation, a certain type of window in one environment will work because of the environmental conditions. So if there's a difference between different materials, it could mean different things in different situations. And again, in all types of project-based learning, it's about solving a problem, and in solving a problem, we have to make decisions. So there's going to be options, so we've got to evaluate. So you can see that you've got to use a language of thinking. Say to students, right, now we've got these options and we've compared and contrasted them. We've got to evaluate them. So they've got to be aware of criteria, prioritizing criteria. So from a teaching methodology is make good thinking visible. What is critical thinking? How do you do it? And what makes good analysis? And it's being thorough. It's having all the information you can get. What's good evaluation? Be sure about your criteria. How many people have got married based on dodgy criteria only to realize several years later, I should have thought about these things. So this is the kind of thing that good thinking applies in all situations. And again, with creative thinking, it's about getting students to say, well, can we come up with a different way of looking at things? So they've got to understand that the mind is able to reframe. So there is some basic psychology that needs to be communicated. Now with metacognition, students have got to firstly be aware that they can actually be metacognitive, that they can monitor their own learning, that they can slow their mind down and say, hold on, have I really done enough analysis here? Do I have the information I need? Am I letting perhaps my previous belief system, my previous experience influence my perception? And that's why when we talk here at SP about the growth mindset, getting students to see that with effort, good teaching, you can actually grow your intelligence, and it's a dynamic thing. If students have limiting beliefs that they think they're not intelligent, they don't make the effort, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So that's why this whole area of teaching metacognition, of saying, look, at the end of the day, your performance is what it is now, because you've only got a certain amount of knowledge and you're only making a certain amount of effort and you're only thinking in a particular way. Increase your knowledge, improve your thinking capability, put more effort in, and you'll see that you're going to be more successful. And nothing breeds success like success. So good questioning, making good thinking visible, and giving students activities that involve those types of thinking. And that's why we're doing projects, right? Because projects will involve students doing certainly a lot of critical thinking, possibly some creative thinking, and to make everything work, if you've got bad metacognitive thinking, it's probably not going to work anyway. So teaching those key areas of thinking skills and making students aware of them and giving them plenty of practice and plenty of feedback, that's how we teach. thinking like anything else. If it's tennis, you've got to learn how to hold the racket, serve, and you get feedback and you practice. And to develop good thinking skills is like anything. It takes a fair bit of deliberate practice over time. And that's what we're going to try to do with the way we teach our projects and the type of projects that we give students. And we will build that thinking process in as an explicit area